Do they put behind the music on VH1? Like where will this pre-show episode be where it took us almost 18 minutes to figure out dial-up? Wrestling with the Intertubes. We're still not sure, so I'm going to wait. No,
I'm not seeing it on Facebook at least.
We're not on Facebook again.
I got it on Facebook.
Oh, it's on Facebook. Oh. Somebody check YouTube. I'm willing to wait at this point. Yeah.
All right. We are good on Facebook. You're right.
Anybody got YouTube?
We're off to a good start, though.
You know what?
Episode 101, like you said, we're on the other side of it.
I'm holding. I'm holding right now. I'm so annoyed with this is
good.
A constant cacophony of errors. So we are on the face base, and we are apparently also on the YouTubes. We apologize. You know what happened? The poor Mac Mini is still recovering from last week. Oh,
that's what happened.
Yes. I've got none of that in my universe, but I could use some right now. So welcome in. Welcome into ATB Show. My name is Timmy, beautiful downtown New Hampshire. Scotty's in downtown Maine. Rubbish Shoes in beautiful downtown Massachusetts. And we are located at atbshow.com. You can find us on the YouTubes and Facebooks happening right now, wherever you're watching. We appreciate it. Please share, comment, subscribe, and like. And, of course, we are brought to you by our dear friends at AAA Work Trucks, which is a high-functioning operation, much better than this fiasco that just barely got out of the blocks tonight. Our friends at AAA Work Trucks, of course, you can track them down with all this information that Rubbish Shoes is about to give you. That'll be on the quiz later. Go ahead, Rubbish Shoes.
AAA Work Trucks, your one-stop shop for all your work truck needs. If it goes in or on a vehicle, it's a good bet AAA could take care of it for you. Give them a call at 866-783-6222 or check them out online at aaaworktrucks.com.
Including if you need a picture of yourself, you can go there too. Plaster that right up on the side of the car.
You can picture yourself, slap it on the side of the vehicle, just like Rubber Shoes does. Wily adventure last week, so much so that Adam is still incarcerated. He couldn't make it for this evening's fiasco. But we are excited. So much to talk about. We're on the precipice of the season for the Red Sox getting underway. Shirley got brand new information over the weekend. She had no idea that the Mass Mutual patches on the uniforms are going to be. That's not just a spring training thing. That's happening forever. I am and we'll get to it. We'll talk about Red Sox and the ads. And they always do that thing on the news where here's the new drinks, here's the new food, and here's any changes they made. And it appears that they're not replacing the John Hancock on the scaffolding. They took it down. That deal ended. But it just looks blank right now. And one would think that Mass Mutual would go in its stead.
Right.
Based on marketing pictures that I saw that were attached to the news story that I saw talking about the new cocktainis and the new food options. They had a cocktail resting on like one of the ledges somewhere. And in the background, you could see the scaffolding that used to support the John Hancock signature. And there was just nothing there. And Janina's like, well, maybe they're going to do it in the next 20 minutes. I'm like, I don't feel like they're doing that between now and Thursday.
Maybe they'll wait until opening day to have it up there.
But that's a lot of stuff to be doing in the next 12 minutes, right? We're opening at Fenway. Am I losing my mind? We're opening at Fenway, right?
Thursday.
We are.
Thursday.
Yeah. Like I would want that done. I would want that to survive a couple of windstorms. Not like, oh no, we'll put it up Wednesday night. It'll be great. You know? So
yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, that was interesting. But Red Sox talk about obviously I think the Bruins right now are at a point where they have to keep winning. They can't have the momentum of whatever they're doing now has to just carry us straight to a duck boat. We'll talk Celtics, and of course, I will be actually for a company event at Gillette tomorrow, and I'm hoping that maybe I'll get my baby signed by Lamar Jackson if he shows up with Meek Mill just in time. Yeah, so we're gonna get to all of that. There's so much to discuss. Obviously, college basketball. So where do we want to start, boys?
I think start with Adam winning our pool already.
Yeah,
is it already? Is it fait accompli? He's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The thorough beatdown that Gonzaga got by UConn pretty much just put everything to bed. Okay. First time in NCAA history, by the way, that no number ones made it to the Elite Eight. Not a single number 1 seed made it to the Elite Eight. First time in NCAA history. It was honestly probably the craziest tournament I've ever seen. It really was. It was nuts, man. I had no idea what was happening. But it was
Yeah, because
fun.
what was first? Furman was first, then Fairleigh Dickinson, then what?
You mean from the knocking out number 1 seed? Well, Furman knocked out a 2 seed.
Yeah, but just the craziness of the 16. The 16 upsets were.
Oh, geez, that would be a long list. We can make a whole show of all the different upsets.
It's another show. Yeah,
yeah, it really is.
We'll get that one not on Facebook later. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you saw the Furman thing, and okay, there it is, right? That's the one. That's the one that's going to be.
I looked like a genius for like 12 minutes. I was very excited.
Right, and then I'm thinking, okay, that's there's your one, there's your big upset. Now we're going to move on, and things will kind of settle down. Never happened. Never happened. It's nuts. Like at this point, my money's on either UConn or Texas. At this point, like those two teams look, pretty legit.
Texas is out.
But didn't Texas come back and win?
No, they lost to Miami.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yes, I do remember that.
That was in the family pool's already sewn up. Also, it came down to that game. It was between Miami and Texas. If Texas won, I would have won the pool. If Miami won, someone else won it. So someone else won it. That game.
I was rooting
for $200.
Was rooting for Creighton, right? I was hoping Creighton would win, but I was rooting for that team just because I like a couple of players on there. But yeah, it's been a nuts tournament, man. Yeah. It's a crazy tournament.
Who do you think takes it?
UConn.
Yeah, at this point, I think they have the best bet right now. Especially, they weren't missing the other night against Gonzaga, but if they play anything like that the next 2 games, it's not even.
So did you see any of the footage of Patino talking about UConn earlier this season?
No.
They have footage of him at a press conference saying, "Yeah, UConn they're the best team. They're so deep. They have their second stringers are just as good as their first stringers, and that they're the deepest team." They're, in his mind, they were the best team in college basketball, and they're looking like it. They won pretty handily on Sunday, I believe, right?
Against Gonzaga.
Is St. John's going to go well for him? I was stunned to see him take that gig.
I wasn't. He was looking to kind of. So with everything that happened at Louisville and all the stuff, he just went down. He was looking for a foothold into a larger university. He was never going to stay at Iona. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't going to be his end of his
understood.
career. So I know he's been looking for it. I think it'll go well for him only because of potential like location. Obviously, St. John's is in New York and all that too.
Yeah.
I think he'll fit right in. I think he did a good job in regards to recruiting Iona. Now, granted, it's a MAC school, and he won like MAC Coach of the Year last 2 years. And it's funny because you look at these smaller conferences and you kind of want to knock them for being the smaller conferences, but then you look at the tournament and they were beating like teams in the big conferences. So who the hell knows?
Yep.
So I don't know. I think for him, especially right now, I think he's determined to kind of keep his nose clean and really just try to go out on a high note. So I think it'll go well for him. I think it'll be a good fit.
What is UConn in now?
I have no idea.
They're not in the Big East anymore.
There's no Big East, right? There's no Big East. ACC? No, not the ACC.
No, it's the AAC.
AAC. Thank you.
The American Athletic Conference. I'm almost positive it's the American Athletic Conference.
Yeah,
it is confusing. Right. Yes, and I would. What I'd love to see? The Big East come back. I would love that. Like that. Like yes.
Me too.
Yep.
Big East was so much fun. Villanova, Georgetown, UConn, like Syracuse. Oh, that was such a great conference, man. It was so much fun. Love that conference.
And huge sidebar here, but like when the Power 5 goes to the Power maybe 3, I don't know, Power 4. Like I feel like when the bigger realignment happens, the next big shift, like ACC just falls apart. Because the power schools in the ACC go to the SEC.
Right.
And then there's going to be Chestnut Hill University. Be like, we should start the Big East again. We should get the band back together. It'll be like it'll be the Little East. Yeah, the Little East. It's going to be us and Villanova. It's going to be awesome.
Exactly.
Honest to God, I would love to see that though, for sure. That would be huge.
Yeah,
huge.
And we're not the only ones. There's a lot of people that would love to bring the Big East back. You know, they really would, but there's a lot of politics in the way.
Yeah, well, it's going to keep getting
Yeah.
worse. But I was talking to somebody about this earlier this week. People are all over the place with NIL and the transfer portal. It's good for the kid that's never good, the kid that's maybe never, and arguably the kids that are getting NIL and transferring wherever they want to go are probably going to get the deals. Just the NIL alone is an opportunity for kids to monetize their athleticism who may never go, and let's pick on the local school. The 300-pound kid from Cohasset that plays offensive line for BC that gets a local deal with Dunkin' Donuts and, you name it. I don't know.
Right.
Kowloon.
Right.
You're welcome, Mr. Wong.
How'd you almost miss that one?
You're welcome, Mr. Wong. Look into it. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Can you say the offensive lineman, the poo-poo platter can be named the offensive line? Whatever the case may be, they can monetize it even if they're not going to go because they're going to graduate, then they're going to go to Putnam and they're going to work in finance because they're just not going to go to that next level. I love that, and I think it's also they've made it the pros. The transfer portal is free agency, and NIL to an extent. I mean, it's not a contract, but it's it's what most athletes are doing outside of their contract. I think it's really cool, and I think this is not going to stop. I was annoyed when people were changing when Maryland went to the Big Ten. I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. But it was like, they were doing it.
Right.
They're doing it because the Big Ten wanted something on the East Coast for TV and all. I know it's all driven by that, but when it doesn't mathematically make sense, and you have this person in your household always, her name's Janine at my house, and she's like, why is Villanova in the Southwest? And I don't know where they were this year. I'm just using an example, and I'm like, because that's how it worked out. Because it doesn't matter, right? They're just moving people around. It is what it is.
Displaced. They were displaced and put here.
They need to rename these conferences because, the Big Ten now, what do they got, like 14 schools in there now?
Probably.
Yeah.
Great logo, though. I'm not going to knock the logo. The logo's great.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, great logo.
The SEC, how much, well, I guess they're still primarily southeast, right now.
South. As they creep over to Texas,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're way off track. We were on basketball, now we're on college football. We can't help ourselves.
I just want to know where are they finally going to force Notre Dame to join?
Nobody brought them up, but Rubber Shoes did. Go ahead, though. By all means.
I mean, they're still independent.
I think they stay there. Because they're never going to. I don't think the Peacock is ever going to stop cutting them a check and giving them their own network. Yeah. And I don't know why they would walk away from that. And I don't know what conference would welcome that with their own TV rights exclusivity. I don't think that's going to happen. It will
basically be the NCAA tournament, the football tournament, saying only the conference champions and runner-ups make it to the the tournament for the national championship. That'll force their hand to have to join something. Like they kind of semi-join the ACC.
Yeah. Their conference play is a whole bunch of ACC, but they still haven't done it. And I know everybody thinks that I hate them. I do, but I mean, in the grand scheme, come on.
It's all right.
I had to get that one in for Richard E. Lindsay.
That was perfect.
I had to get that one in for Richard E.
I
Lindsay.
used to hate this logo.
Yeah, guess what won't change? You cut me. I bleed maroon and gold. Anyway, so in the grand scheme of things, with all reverence to them, because they are an institution, I don't know why they would ever decide that. And with the expansion of the playoffs, we have officially moved to college football. You're welcome. With the expansion of the playoff system, that's only going to give them more of an edge to get in.
Right.
Like they could light themselves on fire, burn a city to the ground, rape and pillage the countryside, and they'd be like, and have no quarterback and have an 8th grader as a head coach, and they'd be like, I think they're going to be pre-ranked this season at 4. Like they just yeah, it's the same people that are doing the Bruins and the Celtics schedule are just like throwing a dart at the wall and being like, Notre Dame preseason rank 3. So they have no reason to screw that up. I don't know why. Swarbuck is their. I think Swarbuck is their AD.
I
Why
heard
would he do
them
that?
bitching about the schedule on one of the local sports channels.
Yep.
The Celtics have a primetime game against Milwaukee, I think Thursday night, and Milwaukee plays the night before. So there's a possibility that once again we don't have like a true matchup of all the players playing in that game.
Because Giannis,
Like the last time we played, we didn't even send 3 of our players up to Milwaukee for the game.
I'd be surprised if that happened though. From Milwaukee side, Giannis plays unless he's really banged up. Giannis plays. And Middleton, he's coming off an injury, but he's been playing a lot more too. So maybe Holiday might, he's got some dings and stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Thursday, especially though. That game tonight they play the Wizards, and it is what it is. But Thursday's game is
why do they need to have Milwaukee play the night before? Like in the grand scheme of things, there's 3 games a week, say, on average. There's no reason why there should be any back-to-back games in a 7-day week.
Right. Yeah, I mean they chunk them out, especially like at the end of the season. You'll see like the Celtics, for example, like they do 3-4-3-4 is what they did at the for the final 4 weeks of the season. And that's how they didn't have any back-to-backs. Oh no, they had one. They had one back-to-back on that road trip, but that was it. But yeah, it's the NBA does it weird. I think we talked about this the other week. Shorten the season by 10 games. Not going to hurt anybody's feelings. You're really not. I think you'll be okay. So it's just to stuff like that. I don't know.
That'll just make the ticket prices go up.
It's true. That unfortunately that would probably happen. But yeah, it's kind of stupid how they have it broken up. And I'm not referring to like the Bruins and the Celtics playing at the exact same time, which is happening again. I think again tonight. But yeah, I mean that's
both at 7:00.
Yep.
Yeah,
I saw that. Before we came on, I was like, "Oh,
yeah." Well, so there's a question: Are they both playing on Thursday? I didn't look at the schedule. Do they both play again on Thursday?
I have it right here. One.
All right.
Because that would be like an unofficial holiday. I almost hope so. Because then you've got opening day at Fenway. One of them's at home, maybe.
No, they are.
Is everybody playing Thursday?
Yep, they got Columbus plays it. They start playing against Columbus at 7 at home, and then the Celtics are playing, as we know, against Milwaukee, which will be an 8:00 start
at Milwaukee. Yeah.
Yep.
How you doing?
And I'll be at Atkinson. 7:30 is that start. So I'll be on my.
I'll be about that chicken and beer.
Chicken and beer is Thursday, so we're playing.
That's amazing.
Golf, and then after that, watch the Sox. Head up to the room, get settled or whatever. Come right back to the bar. Celtics, Bruins, play some pool. Wake up the next day really hungover, ready to die, and then play more golf.
And day 2 Friday is sim golf. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. It's gonna be. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Is anybody? Well, obviously we know your plans because you'll be doing chicken and beer the 2 days off, right? It's a full weekend.
I'm off. Yeah, I'm on vacation at this point. I took tomorrow off. And,
all right.
Yeah, so I took the rest of the week off just to get some stuff done Wednesday, and then
You back to work on Monday?
Yep.
All right. Rubber shoes. I don't see how this is feasible with your life, but are you off Thursday for the game? What are you doing?
No, I'm at work.
Okay. I'm gonna be in Meredith, and I will have it on, but I'll be in meetings. So not live meetings, the digital meetings where I'll be able to monitor it. I'll be able to monitor it from afar. But yeah, so
you'll be doing what I did during the NCAA tournament, which
Yeah, I had everything going, and then at one point there was golf here and basketball there, and
beautiful.
All the interest dropped out for me when Fairleigh Dickinson got eliminated. Though that was my golden ticket, my ride.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be out on the road and I'll have it on the radio, and the 2:10 start. I should. Actually, with the new pitch clock, I might get home just for the 9th inning.
I forgot about that. So did they decide? Great transition, Rubber Shoes. Did they decide that stuff that they tried during spring training isn't going to last into the regular season? Was some of this still trial and error, or are they sticking with? I mean, the shift is a no-brainer. My question being, are they going to utilize? Would they let, depending on the score, of course, would they let the pitch clock last until through 8 innings and then just let them play ball in the 9th inning, or
Nope.
is there going to be any?
staying.
Is there any reason they've decided to amend
So,
that because of what
after
happened in the first
week-
spring training game that it cost? It
No,
feasibly
so-
cost them the game because he stepped out and there was a violation and the walk, right?
After the first
Or the
week
strike.
of that happening, the only other stuff that's happened is that stuff with like Scherzer trying to mess things up. But other than that, nobody was called for not being ready to go with 8 seconds left in the pitch clock. So
Yeah.
everyone's
Well, I
on
mean-
board, and
It's still happening. Like Craig Kimball the other day, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, when the umpire threw out JT Realmonte from Philadelphia,
yeah.
the catcher. That whole ridiculous thing was because Craig Kimball, it started because Kimball wasted the clock. And he was just in his wind, or his leg was coming up, but the clock had already hit 0. And speaking of Scherzer was like, well, is it 0 point? Like if it's 0.4, is that okay or whatever? And like, dude, it's 0. Like just stop.
Right.
But his leg was starting to come up and it was already 0. So the guy called it a ball. And then there was the exchange of the baseball was pretty hilarious. And the ump was young and got embarrassed and tossed out the catcher for really no reason at all. It was pretty amazing.
Right.
But
yeah.
but no, they're keeping all that stuff, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see times of games drop to that 2.5 hour mark. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like that's what I'm excited about, including the Red Sox,
Red
especially.
Red Sox Yankees finishing before 9:45 will be amazing.
It'll be amazing.
I mean, it's normally a 7:05 start, but you'll have some 7:15s in there, and there's always the twilight games like that. That first weeknight game next week, not Thursday, obviously.
Right.
They'll be off Friday, weekends, and then when they start the new series, there's going to be some 6 o'clock starts. They love doing that, right?
Yeah.
There might be a couple of those. And 2.5 hours is awesome. They're keeping the pizza box bases. That's fine. One that popped up that I wasn't aware of, knew about the shift, love the shift. I'm sure Big Poppy is probably doing deep knee bends, getting game ready. He wants to come back now that the shift is gone. Whole new career, right? And I didn't know the pitcher can only go to first base twice.
Correct.
I saw that and I'm like, oh, I didn't even grab that in the liner notes before the preseason started.
So you're allowed to go a third time, but the third time you have to actually pick the guy off. If not, he gets second base automatically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty. Yeah.
Like, see, to me though, there's some of that, like that's some of the gamesmanship there that's getting lost in the matrix. I don't know if I love that. Like, it's going to speed things up. Yes, I know. And there's also, as much as we all want them to end at 9:30, 9:45, sure. But it's sort of funny. Sometimes you're getting on, it's like the 17th inning. It's 3 a.m. You're calling your boss. You're like, I'm not going to make it in this week.
Yeah,
right?
see, that's the
we're
thing.
still playing the Astros. Like, I don't know. I mean, some of those are funny. I guess we're not going to miss them, but because we don't get a
That's
choice.
the thing I like that they did last year was in extra innings they start with a guy on second base, but they got rid of that for this season.
I know, which is really disappointing. I really
That
enjoyed
is really
Yeah.
peculiar with
really
everything else
enjoyed
they're doing to expedite the process. They
It
took
just made
that
it
back.
more fun. It made it so much more fun.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I can understand them not doing that postseason baseball. Fine.
Oh, yeah.
100%, 1,000%. Totally understand. But during come on, like what the hell? Like why not during the regular season,
Yeah, it's
But
like the NHL having the shootout
Right.
during the regular season just to get them over so you're not going,
Right.
in 2 days later to finish a game.
Have they decided because of the pizza box bases that the actual base path has changed, right? The width of the base path? Or are they still calling it like you can't obviously run on the grass? You know what I mean? Like when runners are running and they're eluding a between the bags tag, like have they been given extra license to go a little bit more right, a little bit more left because of the size of the base? Or are they still considering that's still a linear thing in your head? Am I making sense right now when I say that?
No, you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think there's really been anything.
Nothing's come up yet.
It's a good question. It's a good point, and I guarantee it's going to come up. First 2 weeks of the season, something like that will happen. like the old Chuck Knobloch play back in
Nobby
the
tagged him.
90s,
Did he though?
where
Did he?
They threw the ball and I don't remember the runner from Cleveland. They were playing Cleveland though. And I remember that. And they hit him right in the back. And Knobloch just sits there and he's just pointing. He's like, ooh, and like the ball friggin' just, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it was just amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. Something like that'll happen probably. And it'll come up. I just haven't heard anything. I don't know, Billy, you have, but I haven't heard anything.
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah.
It's still,
Something
I think the rule is that you're supposed to be able to like stick your arm out and touch the base is where it's considered the path that you're supposed to stay in.
Yep.
But you have an arm's reach to each side of the base, so it's probably just going to be that.
Okay.
Not,
Sure. Yeah, it's usually pretty obvious. I mean, we'll see. This is the but here's the stuff that's going to be left to the discretion of an umpire until eventually they are going to geofence between the bases at some point. Like I mean, probably not me, count the gray hair, but we're going to get to a point in somebody's lifetime where the umps won't even be out there. Like it's all going to get called digitally. Like they're going to pull the humanity out of it at some point, I think. Like they've talked about getting rid of the home plate ump and just having something back there. Geofencing the plate, right?
That to me seems more realistic of that happening at some point, the home plate, than it does the others. Only because I just don't, I'd be really surprised to see a first base and third base coach out of there. Also,
no, not the coaches,
umpires,
the umpires.
The accuracy of the majority, there are good home plate umpires, but the accuracy of majority of home plate umpires, last year especially, in the last few years, awful, just awful. And it's a really difficult job. I'm not saying it's not, but it's just really, really bad. Again, there's some good ones. It's like almost any sport. The NBA has some really bad officials, like really, really bad refs. NFL does too. But yeah, I think with baseball, there is a potential solution there that I could see them instituting. Not for a while though. I don't see anything in the near term future at least.
Yeah, I think. Well, you got to figure like 20 years ago, guys throwing 100, there was very few of them. Now it's even throwing mid 90s, there wasn't a ton. Now everyone's throwing mid 90s, so you got to think things coming in 95, 100 miles an hour. How accurately are you seeing that? Especially when it's a slider or a curveball coming in, and where it's actually hitting the front of the plate. It's tough. They'll definitely do that. But the umpire will still be there because he still has to be there to call people safe and out at home plate. So it won't be won't be gone. And he has to keep track of the pitch count too, the pitch clock.
Sure, I suppose so. Okay. So that's it for changes. And then we were talking about I don't think they've made any structural changes to Fenway, but we were talking earlier about how like the John Hancock thing is gone. And I don't know if anybody's seen any recent photos or if it's on the news tonight, but I think they haven't replaced that, which is just an odd choice if they haven't put what will probably be Mass Mutual going up there. Why haven't they done it yet? Or are they so greedy and they're asking for so much money, but they have their name on the uniforms, so they have to be spending a decent penny to have that conversation going. Why would they not put it up there? But it just looks naked. It won't be weird like, oh, that's different. It looks nude. It's just a weird, I don't know, odd choice.
Or at least they could have put like Fenway Park or something like that. You know what I mean? Like something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
America's most beloved ballpark. I don't know, like whatever it is. Like put something.
The Truly Suites where they have the new studio, the new Nesson studio and the Truly Suites behind the bleachers in right.
Yep.
On top of that new addition is the New Balance thing. And then Hancock's, there's nothing over the center scoreboard. And then Bank of America is over the left-hand side before you get to the Monster, which has always been there. Yeah, it's they're really good about how, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Aesthetically pleasing it is, and how they've always made it look like a ballpark, not a stadium, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, it's a little eyesore-ish if they haven't changed it. And I'm not worried about Mass Mutual. I bet they could have come up with 4,000 other things other than Mass Mutual, and I know it's.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Mass Mutual ate John Hancock, and that's why we're going there. But it's just, I don't know. It's just like, yeah, it's so blasé. It's just, it was such a cool script, and the signature was just classic, and you saw it. It's almost like the Citgo sign in Kenmore,
Right.
Now it's going to say Mass Mutual in block lowercase font, and it's like, oh, okay. Helvetica
So I'm
too.
seeing story back in December that said that
Mass
the
Mutual was
insurance
taken.
giant
Yeah.
will also have an 80-foot high neon signage that will replace the old John Hancock signature.
All right.
But
So,
nothing
maybe
since December.
maybe the still photos I saw with the new cocktails and the new food were before they put it up, but I just
Yeah.
haven't. Yeah, I'd be. Maybe they're doing it today. I don't know, or maybe it was done and I just saw old photos. But John Hancock was down and it looked terrible. But has anybody bought tickets yet? Have you decided they're not ruining your summer, Rubber Shoes? Are you going to go to a game?
Nope. I haven't
Haven't
done
bought the
anything
tickets,
yet.
or you're not going, or both?
I bought the tickets, but that's so. Like I said a couple weeks ago, now that they don't sell out every night, you don't have to you can wait and see. Hey, it's going to be a nice,
Yep.
nice night out.
Yep.
Good night to go to the ball game. So that's what the last few years we just wait, and if it's going to be nice and we don't have anything going on, you can do last minute. You don't have to worry about purchasing tickets ahead of time.
Yep. Well, honestly, even the SROs, and you just go in there, grab a cocktail, and just meander about. I mean, it's
I tell you, when they were banging out the stadium or the park, we used to do the standing room only on the monster seats. Oh, phenomenal!
killer. Yeah,
We loved it up there. It was like you get there early enough, you get the thing to lean on, and you're fine.
Yeah, you gotta commit. You gotta get like a colostomy bag and have somebody do beer runs for you. But other than that, yeah, you're locked and loaded for the night. Yeah, and it's what were your SRO tickets last time you did that on the Monster? How much?
They were like 50.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
not bad.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So again, they
Sitting
started
on the
doing
Monster is
them
$450. So
depending on who you're seeing, it was like $50 to go see Kansas City, but it was like $110 to go to Yankees game.
Right.
but that's still wildly reasonable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Day
Compared to
of
what it
good
was,
weather,
too.
why not? Yeah,
Yep.
that's
It
crazy.
was insane back in the day. Like it's so much better now than it was because they're not selling out anymore every single game, which is nice.
Right.
Which is nice. I'll be buying some tickets this year. I know my brother and I talked about years ago. We took my father for his, I want to say it was actually his 60th. We took him for a game and we sat up on the Monster. And he's pushing 70. So we want to get him tickets and get him up there and do that again. So we'll
Get Slick Rick up in the perch.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's a hobbit sized man. So, he needs as much.
Yeah,
height
you
as
got.
possible.
Yeah, can you put him in a clear plastic bag and just carry him in? Yeah,
We can. Yeah,
little
we
Ricky
need to.
Duquette. Yeah.
Especially if he goes
Put
to
him
like
in
game
a
on or
papoose
somewhere
and say it's your
beforehand.
kid. Have him shave the mustache off. Have him shave all the gray off and just say it's your kid. Yeah.
I don't think no, if he did that, that would look just way too weird, man. That would be just awful. Yeah, it's not. He shaved his mustache once when I was a child, and I actually thought it was a different person. Like I didn't think it was him.
Didn't
And it
sleep
freaked
for
me out.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just it was very traumatizing. I was not a fan. Not a fan. And that was the last time he's done it. So
Yeah.
appreciate that, Pop. But
Sure.
now I'm looking forward to the season, though. I think the Sox are going to be sneaky good because I don't
we
think
have to
there's
make
really anybody
predictions.
picking them
Yes. Yep.
to be very good this year. And I kind of like when I looked at like their IL and obviously with Story out, but then Paxton and Bello and Whitlock, they're all going to be on the IL to start the year.
Yep.
But it's not extended stays.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Whitlock he should be back by the second week, they're saying. He's going to do 2 starts down in Worcester, and then he'll be called up. And then, who's the
Bello's
other
on
guy?
like the
Just
same
said?
timeline.
Yeah, Bello's like late April, they're saying.
Yeah. So they'll be fine there. But yeah, I did like the fact that they kept Wu Chang and they kind of sent Bobby Dahl back down. And Dahlback, I know he said something the other day that he thought he earned the spot and worked really hard. I'm like, dude, you went from hitting like 250 or 260, hitting like 210, and you just have not looked. You just look bad in the field. You haven't not going to happen. So I'm happy they gave Wu Chang a chance, which Chris, loyal listener and follower there, Chernick and I were already doing the Wu Chang or Yu Chang chant. You know what I mean? Instead of Wu Chang.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to happen. That's definitely going to happen.
So what is your prediction for the year, Scotty?
For wins,
Yeah.
For the record, that's a tough one. They won 78 last year.
Mm-hmm.
And the year before they won 92 and made the playoffs and actually went to ALCS. So I'm going to say 90.
Ooh.
90 wins. Okay.
90 wins. Right on the
I'm
button.
putting it in the chat. We're going to memorialize this. We'll have to scroll back, but I'm putting that in the chat. What do you got, Rubber Shoes?
I'm going to go 84. And they'll be on the cusp of making the playoffs because the AL East is just, they're going to beat up on each other so bad. The AL East is so good.
Yeah,
Baltimore,
except for Baltimore.
they start out with Baltimore's got good young players.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to be I think they surprised a lot of people last year. I don't know if they'll be as good because I think a lot of those young players, it was their first time up and people didn't really know how to pitch them and stuff like that. So we'll see. But yeah, what about you, Timmy? What do you got?
98.
22.
I'm sorry. What was that?
98 and 64.
Holy, wow.
Yep.
Just shooting for the moon.
Total opposite as last year.
I want them to
Shooting
fix.
for the
I want them to
moon.
fix your summer. 98 and 64.
All right. I am.
It's going to be a lot of. I was talking to somebody about this today at the office. It's going to be a lot of who the hell is this kid? I think
And also,
we're gonna find a couple of diamonds in the rough. I think 98 and 64.
They're not playing the AL East as much this year. They're playing every team in Major League Baseball this year. So they'll be playing everyone. So that there'll be a lot more teams that are easy passes. I think the National League has a lot of those teams out there.
Yeah, like Miami, Cincinnati, those types of teams.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, for
98
sure.
and 64. 98 and 64. We shall see.
right.
90 was overly optimistic. but-
You said
So
that.
did
I'm like,
I.
oh, all right. I'm going to paint the ceiling on this
Man,
one. Here we
I
go.
like
Here
it.
we go. Yeah.
I'm the pessimist in this. This is crazy.
Listen, I'm doing I'm giving. It's for the kids. It's for the kids. It's the least I can do. So where are we? Where do we want to go? Celtics or Bruins or what?
Well, I was like the Celtics from a Celtics perspective, they've, it was so funny to look back now in the doom and gloom, but it was mostly because of just the way that they were playing on that road trip, which they ended up 4-2, and they've looked 10 times better since they got home the last couple of games. And now they're only a game and a half behind Milwaukee. Philadelphia is just, they were on a tear. They won like 9 straight. They've lost 4 straight or 3 straight, something like that now. So they've kind of got some breathing room between the 3 seed and the 2 seed. So, I'm interested to see if they keep that pace of play up tonight against Washington, because that's been their issue right now is, keeping up, kind of, and they have, like they what they did to San Antonio and Indiana was have that killer instinct and kind of okay, we got you down, we're going to keep you down. And it'll be interesting to see if they can do that with Washington, because they're definitely a superior team. I don't know if Beal's playing tonight. I know he's got like an investigation going on or something, police investigation for what happened. I think it was like Houston or somewhere. I don't know. He had a spat with a fan about something, and I don't know what the hell's happening. But anyway, but yeah, they should definitely beat Washington, and then Milwaukee's just. I hope you're wrong, Billy. I am really, really hoping that teams are both full strength and they get into it.
Well,
That's gonna be a lot
you
of
would
fun.
think that where it's gonna mean a lot that if Milwaukee was gonna rest anyone, they'd rest them the night before, so they have everyone for Thursday night. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a.
If you think
So
about it,
you guys, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say if the Celtics win tonight, Milwaukee happens to lose tomorrow, right? At that point, they're playing for number 1 seed in the East.
Yeah,
Because the Celtics are will be a half game behind them at that point. So that it's just magic right there, man.
yeah.
I don't know how
You
much
guys
a game
know
is.
about the Jaylen Brown All NBA clause?
No.
Yeah.
What happened?
So
Between-
if he makes
between him
All
and
NBA,
Jason
he'll be able to make $100 million more on the Supermax contract than if he doesn't make it.
Basically, between him and Tatum, if they both make All NBA first team this year, they are due or could make. I want to say Tatum was 375 and Brown was 325. Those were their max deals that they could pull down. Yeah, it was insane. I'm like, I just saw that and I was like, oh Jesus, just Don't
And
vote for either.
they
of them.
can only make that. They
Mhm.
can only make that from the Celtics. So a lot of people are saying
Right.
if Brown makes it, then that puts Celtics, gives them a
At an
niche
advantage to keep him.
yeah.
But then again,
keep
does he
him.
want to stay because of all the stuff that came out?
I mean,
recently?
that's a lot of dough to give up to,
Right.
for pride.
375 and 325.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking at it's $700 million essentially
keep them.
For two
to keep-
players.
but they're still in their mid to early 20s
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're studs, absolute studs. And it's just, I mean, it's if you're a Celtics fan, you want to say it's a no brainer. If you Wick Grossbeck, there's going to be something involved in regards to the brain right there. Cause you're going to have to think that one hard, man. That's going to be a tough one. Cause that's an insane amount of money. That's an insane investment.
That's a bunch.
Yeah. It's probably, it's a third of what your franchise is worth probably at this point. Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's really, really is, but that's the life we live right now, the world we live in, I suppose. But it's that's for 2 years though, because Brown is not up until he's got one more year left. So not the end of this season, but next he'll be a free agent at that point. And then Tatum's got the following season after that he'll be a free agent. So they've got a couple more years together. And when Jaylen Brown did come out and he talked about Celtics fans, the one thing he did clarify was like it wasn't all Celtics fans, but there's some that he hears from in Boston that are like, just shut up and dribble, and we don't want to hear your politics and blah blah blah. Just I don't want to hear Celtics fans doing that. Like that's the thing that kind of sucks. Like the kid's got if the kid's got a voice, let him have a voice. What does it matter to you?
Yep.
You know what I mean? If it's not taking away, clearly not taking away from the performance on the court, because I think we've talked about it, arguably been the best player on the Celtics team for the last month and a half. So it's not hurting him. Just shut up and go do your friggin' job. Jesus, like come on, man. Like I don't know, that stuff kind of drives me nuts, especially as like a Celtics fan, because it's not all of us, man. Like I would love JB just to finish his career and Tatum both finish their careers here. I would love to see that.
Well, when the landscaper shows up at your house, you don't walk out and say, "How are you voting this fall?"
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I hired them based on their business acumen, their ability to execute, and their pricing, referrals from friends. I've never said who to use for a local mechanic. How do they vote? Or I don't agree with all of your politics or all of your views or all of your perspective. Yeah, it's just two buckets of stupid. And the other side of that conversation is I also, and he would never do it because he's not insane. And professional athletes don't come to my office and heckle me at my desk. Right. So, like, I appreciate that you feel that you paid the money to be in the building. You paid the money to cheer, to boo, and all that kind of stuff. And but like it gets to a certain point, like everybody has their freedom of speech. He's created a platform for himself that's larger than yours, even though, Jimmy, you feel like you're reaching millions on Reddit. You've got 12 friends, 14 of them are bots, and the other 3 are dead. And nobody really cares what you have to say. And if Jaylen Brown has a voice and people are listening and you don't agree with all of his perspectives, I don't know. Like, it's that's just stupid. Like, I guarantee.
Just don't listen to the interview.
Well, or just like let it go. Like, oh my God, like if I eliminated everybody in my life that I don't agree with, I mean, we'd have to shut this show down right now, for Christ's sakes. I mean, look at Rubber Shoes. Almost started a fight at the dinner table last week, right?
We didn't let Adam back this week.
Well, it's all right. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. He will be back. He will be back.
I really want to know how he did it on his women's bracket.
I think he's cruising a little bit. Can I give myself some credit? Nostradamus talks about 2 blondes on the Miami team, and they are just trucking. I think they finally got eliminated. Yes, did Miami?
They did, yeah.
Miami women finally got eliminated, but up until last night, I think.
One of the twins that you were talking about there,
Cavendish, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
She hit like a huge clutch free throw to advance them to like the next round, though.
And she shushed the crowd. She shushed the crowd.
Yeah, she talks some shit too. Yeah.
It is funny though. Janina's like they're definitely on a TikTok ride because it's there. I mean, don't get me wrong. They'd cross me up and break my ankles. I'm not saying that, right? So stand down, everybody that's getting worked up. They for sure though. One of the sisters is on the court all the time, and the other one just Janina's like. Janina's just irritated because every time I put on the TV, their game was on again. She goes, "You've never watched women's college basketball." I'm like, but I know they annoy you, so we're just gonna watch. And the other one just ran around like she was drunk at a party with the arms flailing like a puppet, and couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So, like and I don't know if their cachet gets them to the WNBA or not, or one of them maybe, but it doesn't seem like it's going to go much further than this. And I think, so that was interesting. And then
that goes back to your NIL point earlier. You know what I mean? It's situations like that help those kids out. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it, back to your point, is like these are short time or short windows for a lot of these kids that they'll be able to make some money and things like that.
Puss in Shoes is back. Puss in Shoes is back. The Caitlin girl that drained the 3 the other night, and didn't she set the 40 points, triple-double?
First time in NCAA history, not just women's, but
Caitlin Clark, is that her name? Yes. I feel like I'm screwing her name up. Yeah. Yep. That 3 was amazeballs. Like, how many times did she practice that before dinner in her childhood, right? That was awesome. That was super cool. The other 2 things I wanted to touch on, there was the girl that got in the fight with the girl from Texas in the handshake line, and she's been super classy ever since. She's like, it's being made more of. If that was 2 guys, if that was men's college basketball, this would be less of a thing. She didn't use the terms cat fight, but I think and I don't think she's wrong. They made more of it. I think they made more of it because it was women's college basketball. They made, some people might have been trying to make more of it because she was a blonde white girl and it was a black girl. There's a piece of it that's there. And she's handled it really well. And I love that the Texas girl mouthed off. Like, all the mouthing off. This is like, for some of the people on that Texas team, that's it. There's nothing after this. They're going to work, right? So then there was in the NIT, did you see the girl get punched in the NIT?
Yeah, that was nuts.
That was crazy. And I appreciate the emotion. Again, I'm not going to say it's appropriate one place and it's not the other. Hitting somebody's not great. And everybody comes out of the woodwork and they're like, well, that's the girl's last time ever being on the court. So what are they going to do? You could retroactively rip her whole scholarship out of her pocket. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like, did you see that, Rubber Shoes?
No.
The NIT handshake line, much like
I don't watch NIT men's basketball. Never mind girls basketball.
Dude, I wasn't watching it. It was on the news because it was newsworthy. It was somewhere, but I probably saw it.
Didn't make my Instagram feed.
It was probably on my Tim Talks. Anyway, it was not. I did not see it on SportsCenter, so I don't know where you saw it, Scotty. But the girl just, I think she just sort of gut punched her when she was walking by, dropped the girl to the floor. And I don't know what the repercussions have been. I haven't followed up on it.
I haven't seen anything either.
Dug.
I saw the fight itself, it came on my feed, or one of my feeds, or whatever, and I saw it. I was like, Jesus, it was ugly. It was an ugly scene. But
I didn't even know there was a NIT women's tournament.
There is. BC basketball has to go somewhere. Anyway, are we on to? So my prediction for the Bruins. I was talking to somebody today. I'm like, they could, at this point, they could just skate out nude. Like skates and sticks. I was going to say something else in sticks, but like skates and sticks. Whatever they want to do. And they're at the point now, too. We talked about this earlier when we started the show. They have to, now the momentum has to stay. There's not enough breathing room for them to have a little kerfuffle and then get back into the groove. They've got to hold serve right now, don't you think? No. Okay.
The thing is the NHL playoffs is so different than any other sport. So many 8 seeds knock off 1 seeds. It's been a while since a President's Trophy team has won the Stanley Cup. So I think the Blackhawks were last in to do it.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a tough. You got to get your, one, you got to stay healthy. Two, you got to get your goalie. So that's another thing that everyone's talking about. What are they going to
Who's
do with
gonna
the goalie
start?
situation?
Yep.
Right now, they're pretty much playing every other day. So Ullmark's playing one day, Swayman's playing the next. They're going back and forth probably for the last week. Are they, Montgomery came out and said Ullmark's starting game one. After that, we'll see. So it'll be interesting. Are they going to go with the hot hand and then, or are they going to platoon through the whole playoffs? It'll be interesting to see.
Well, they have 9 games left this year too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, to your point, Tim, like, I don't know if you're saying, like, if they, let's say, like, they over the next 6 games they keep playing with just skates and sticks, and then
Dixon's it's gonna be great.
Great
and
to have
then
that
after that they
visual
kind of,
Nude golf.
then they put their clothes on, and for the
Yep.
last 3 games, you're saying that would be a huge detriment going into the postseason, and that that's where they would potentially lose. I mean, hockey, like to Billy's point, though, NHL playoffs is
Whole different animal. I know.
totally different. Like
I know.
it doesn't matter. I've always thought, like, with hockey more than almost any other sport, it doesn't matter what your seed is. It really doesn't.
No.
All you just you get a hot goalie, you're screwed, totally screwed. But
So I think they have, if they win 6 more games, they beat the Canadians record for wins in the season. Although I was thinking about this the other day. So they got the win on Sunday against the Hurricanes. It was a shootout win.
Yes.
They didn't have shootout wins back when Montreal set this record. So
There'll be an asterisk. Yep.
they get a
points
couple
or is
extra
it-
wins. Excuse me?
sorry, is it points? Sorry to interrupt. Is it points or is
So
it
they can
points
do
record or
both.
wins record?
It's going to be both.
Okay.
They can get both records. They can get wins in a season and total points in a season.
What was the wins? What was the total wins? 60 or 59?
63?
63, yeah, because they're at 57 right now. Yeah, 57.
And
and
they play Montreal the last game of the season in Montreal.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
Jesus.
That's nuts.
I'm just nervous again. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it right
Imagine
there.
if it comes down to that game to beat Montreal for those records.
Right.
It'll be-
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'd like them to like Olmark and just stick with them. I don't want them to keep going back and forth. I think you need to let somebody get in there and get settled, and because then Olmark has a bad game too, and then they put in Swayman, and he has trouble getting started.
Yeah,
and now you're down 1. Now you're down 2-1 because you couldn't make a decision. They got to figure that out. I hate that he's saying he's going to start with them, but like he'd be like he's starting in the playoffs, not like he's going to start game 1. I don't love that.
Yeah. So if they're gonna go one way or the other, they need to commit. At least, I mean, they don't have to tell us anything, but they need to commit to those
waiting.
players. Like,
I'm waiting.
You're the number one. You're gonna be the guy. If you have a bad game, where if things get out of hand, we'll pull you, but you're starting the next game, or you're going in, getting both guys' minds. Okay, this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna play you guys, or maybe one they feels better on the road than at home, and they're like, okay, Ullmark, you're starting at home. Swayman, you're going to be all the road games or something. But at least figure something out ahead of time and not just go by the gray hairs as you're going forward. Like, oh, I think, because then you're just gonna screw everyone's mind, especially goalies. Goalies are head cases in the first place, and then you
Fickle
start
beasts.
pulling stuff like that.
Yep, not great. So, all right, so they're playing 75 times this week, always when the Celtics are playing. Rubber Shoes loves that. The interview with Robert Kraft. How do we feel about that?
I actually like the interview with Belichick. I figured we'd talk about that too, but I don't know if you saw that.
Both. I mean, they was both had wonderful morsels of chicken on the bone.
The Kraft one I thought was hilarious. Didn't he bring up what's his buddy there that he said Lamar Jackson wants to get
Meek Mill?
What was it?
Meek
Mill,
Mill.
Yeah.
He wants to get traded to the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? What is he doing?
If I told you 10 years ago, Scotty, while we were sitting up in 339. Me, you, and Rubber Shoes are sitting in 339. I'm like, you know what I think is going to happen? I think years from now, our octogenarian Jewish ownership is going to develop a relationship with a rapper named Meek Mill, which is going to, after Brady's gone, which would have been heresy to say out loud during a game at Gillette.
Definitely.
After Brady's gone, our octogenarian Jewish owner is going to develop a relationship with a hip hop artist, maybe named Meek Mill. And this is somehow going to triangulate a series of events that drives a phenomenal football player into our uniform to make up for the kid that we hope to be the one. Because here's the thing, all the people are like, well, hey, why are we giving up on Mac? Nobody's mentioned his other. Every time there's a Lamar Jackson conversation right now, nobody's mentioning Mac. It's not even like, no, we still believe in Mac. And I'm going to throw this out just to throw some mutton on the floor for the dogs to chew on. I am still a Bill forever guy. Like, I don't even care what Kraft is saying right now. I don't. Bill has earned the right. We've had parades every February for 75 straight years. He's earned the right to have this gap of it's a French term, look it up later, bullshittery, right? Like, this has not been great, but we have not been in the desert for 40 years. Like, let's everybody calm down. And he also right now sort of has carte blanche, and I would lean into that if I were him. Like, I've got the checkbook, we have an inordinate amount of money, and he wants me to grab his friend, and we're going to make football touchdowns and apparently rap albums. We're putting a studio in the stadium, right? Well, like, whatever he wants, because then you can go back to Bill at the end of the year and be like, I know you wanted us to get into the playoffs and at least win a game, and I also did it your way.
Right.
So what would you like me to do in 24? He's got,
He was there, and now he's not.
He'll be back. I don't know what just happened. He just exited. Hey, buddy.
That was froze up.
You're right. Oh, you just froze up and left. All right. So yeah, I mean, talk to me, guys. Like, I'm all about Bill. I appreciate what he said, though. He's like, listen, because they asked about the Shula thing, and he's like, our players here aren't focused on stats; they're focused on wins. Now, the stat that Bill's focused on, we won't admit it, is wins. I appreciate that, but I also appreciate where Kraft was coming from when he said that. Like, that's a stat to Bill, and all I'm worried about is one more friggin' banner, right? And I have a very expensive lighthouse I'm putting in, so we need some wins. But give me your thoughts on the interviews. I thought it was fascinating how candid they both were.
I thought, and it's funny. I think the reaction to Belichick's interview has been more vitriol than like the Kraft thing. You know what I mean? It's been like more viral even, where Belichick came out and, talking about, what are the fans, what do you kind of say to the fans? So he's like, well, it's a long off season, still got a lot of work to do, still a long way to go. And then he's like, what about, what do you say to the fans that have, kind of been anxious and things? And he's like, the last 25 years, and he's not wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I love the way he said it. And it's just, the thing is, like, people like, Teddy Bruschi and Ben Watson and a few, like, older Pats have come out and they said, like, oh, well, that's totally not Belichick, because he always said, we're not talking about the past. We're always looking towards the future. We're not talking about the past. And they're like hanging this, like, one line on him, like he's, doing something completely wrong. Or, and I'm like, to me, that's just Belichick getting like tired of having to constantly defend himself when he's put together this enormous resume of success. Yes, Brady was an enormous part of that resume and a big part of them being successful, no question. But again, you don't have it both ways. You can't. I don't think you can have it both ways. I know Brady was successful in Tampa. That team was also loaded with people, like absolutely
juiced. Yep.
Yes. So that's a little bit of a different story. But anyway, I'm fine with the way Belichick has responded. I don't know. Like, I think the media is kind of overhyping some of the stuff and trying to like dig in a little bit too deep. The Kraft thing just makes me shake my head and be like, how many cocktails did he have before he got in front of the microphone there, and it's like Meek Mill dropping, like trade requests. And then you got Belichick on the other side of the room being like, I'm not talking about any other players on other teams. And it is. It
is funny though. He can stick to that because his parting line is always, I don't talk about players that aren't on the team.
Right.
So he just everybody was like, "Oh, is he going to talk about it?" No, he's not going to talk about it.
Mike Reese pushed on that too. I don't know if you saw that or not, but he was like, "Well, he is a kind of a free agent right now." That's why I was asking. He's like, "No, not talking about any other players right now. That's not on the team." He's just like Belichick just stood right there and kind of sent it again. So, whoops. I'll pour another one in a second.
Yes.
So yeah,
We didn't really celebrate that. What are we drinking? Monkey Fist? What do you got there?
Monkey Fist.
There is actually a gin called Monkey Fist. You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
Gunpowder.
This is gunpowder whiskey. Okay.
Yeah, I just showed the New Hampshire thing just for you, but it's more.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
I guess. Anyway, yeah, no, I don't think there's like dissension in the ranks or anything like that between the two of them. I still think they're on the same page, and I think honestly, if there was a reasonable way to get Lamar Jackson, I think Belichick would do it.
1,000%.
Do I still believe in Mac Jones? Absolutely. Would I be upset if Lamar Jackson came in and replaced Mac Jones? No, not so much. You know what I mean? I would not. But I think that's going to happen? No.
It's too exciting. It would,
Just no way.
And I remember there was 17 minutes where we were like, "Oh, we'd never get Cam Newton. That's not going to happen."
Right.
And like then we got Cam Newton. We're like, "Oh God, it's happening." And I remember back we were actually Aiden and I were sitting at the draft party in Gillette in the Putnam Club when they made the announcement about Randy, which was amazing the way they did it. Did I ever tell you that story?
The Randy Moss pickup?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there. I was there with you.
You were with us.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
there was a
yeah.
bunch of us there that day. Yeah, there was a bunch of us there, and because Belichick came out and spoke, and there was a whole bunch. Yeah, and they announced
They brought
Randy
the guy that does the in stadium announcing, and he came up and he's just like, "So we know there's rumors out there that apparently the Patriots are in talks with Randy Moss, and we wanted to make sure that you knew for sure and heard from us. It's absolutely true." The place went nuts.
We went nuts. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
and then
awesome.
He came here and we had a great
that's
season, and then lost in the
the
Super Bowl.
equivalent of them trying to figure out that hurts.
Yep, it did.
That's the equivalent of them trying to get DeAndre Hopkins. If they got DeAndre Hopkins, that would be world changing. Just it's the same way of them when they got Moss. Moss is a game changer, and Hopkins is and I wouldn't say he's in the same breath as Moss. I don't think he's there yet, but he's a future Hall of Famer.
So if we can rubber shoes, if we're bringing Lamar in, is that we might as well play in Candyland. Here we are. Lamar comes in. Is that enough, or do they need to grab a D Hop or help an LB? Why am I struggling with it? Help me. OBJ. Yeah. I do not want LBJ. Go ahead. Rubber shoes.
No, bringing Lamar in definitely makes them a contender, at least for the I got AL East in my head. The AFC East,
the Big East. It's the Big East. It's fine. We're bringing it back.
There's so many East now.
We're bringing it back. The Big East. Yep.
Yeah, that changes a lot. I mean, I think they got enough receivers right now. I'm fine with what they have. Hopkins would be nice, but I just don't see. I think there's a less than 1% chance it happens because not only do they got to pay him a contract, which he wants a contract. He wants upwards of $300 million guaranteed.
It'll be picks too, big picks.
And right, they have to trade. You're giving up at least 2 first-round picks, if not more. And Belichick loves his draft picks, so I definitely don't see it happening.
They said that the latest is that Arizona, being they, is looking for Christian McCaffrey type draft or trade. McCaffrey was traded to the Niners. They got, I want to say it was 3 number 2s. I want to say it was like three number 2s, I think, and 2 3s or 3 number 2s and 2 4s, something around that. It was a ridiculous amount of draft though, and because it's so
that's what they want for Hopkins,
that they want that's the asking. And to Billy's point, and then on top of that, you have to sign him to a 5-year, 6-year deal of massive amounts of money. Not Deshaun Watson type money, but he wants some cash for sure.
So if they decide that that's going to happen, he's hasn't he what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, he hamstrung him yesterday because he came out and tweeted right when Harbaugh was talking yesterday.
Oh,
So-
Lamar Jackson, you mean?
Yeah, back to the Lamar Jackson. Like, hasn't his price changed, or is he still? Do you still think he's super expensive?
No, he's still really expensive. No, he's definitely, he's
He
looking for.
He basically said, "I want to be gone," though.
He requested a trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
He came out and requested a trade, and then you got Harbaugh sitting in front of all the media at the NFL, like the head coaches meeting or whatever. Which I always, by the way, the annual head coaches photo is the best thing to break down. It's amazing. It's hilarious if you ever get a chance to look at it. It's just every single one of them you can kind of go through, and it's just it's hilarious. Anyway, but for Jackson, the big thing is that everyone's saying he's kind of being blackballed by a lot of the owners. They don't want to touch him. He has no agent. He's representing himself. All this stuff, right?
He's got
And
Meek Mill.
he does want a ton of money. And then you got Harbaugh, who's like completely on like the opposite side of the spectrum. He's like, he's family. I want him here. I'm actually, we're planning that he's here. Like, we're planning to build things. He's like, well, obviously you want to have a backup plan just in case, but we're planning to have him. Like, it's literally two sides of the coin in regards to the story that's being told in the Lamar Jackson world. It's really, really strange. I don't see it being resolved until well after the draft, personally. But,
Interesting.
yeah, I mean,
So-
there's that. It's weird. It's like these two or three like large storylines that constantly are gaining weird traction, but actually not going anywhere. It's the Aaron Rodgers to the Jets trade, which still hasn't happened yet.
So stupid. It's so boring.
dumb.
He's like a
It
human
really is.
yawn. Honest to God.
Right. It's just dumb. And then you got the Lamar Jackson thing and the D-Hop thing. It's like
Yeah.
all these things that are like happening, but there's actually nothing happening. It's
Right.
it's freaking stupid. It
So-
really is.
He doesn't end up at Gillette. He doesn't stay in Baltimore. Where do you think he goes? If that's the case,
That's a good question.
I see
Atlanta's
him-
got the money.
Yep.
Atlanta's got a ton of cap space.
Yep.
Carolina's got a lot of cap space. Those are the two off the top of my head.
He's always had a bird on his helmet. I think he goes to Atlanta, and I just think like
I love the logic there. It's clean.
yeah, football chickens. I'm gonna go with that. That's
Perfect.
where
Love it.
I'm sticking to it. I think he goes to Atlanta. I can see him in the uniform. I'd love to see him in our uniform, but it is one of those too good to be trues.
Right.
Because it would be such an expedited fix for all the things that are wrong with our offense right now.
And if it doesn't happen, though, I'm still happy with Mac. I'm still excited for the season to see what him and Billy O'Brien are able to do.
Yes. Yep.
And they talked during the interview, like we were, started the segment on with Belichick in his interview. He's like, they asked him specifically, is Mac the starter or is it going to be competition with Zappy? And he's like, everyone will have a chance to play. Which is always the Belichick response you're going to get anyway. He's not going to show any cards whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I think we all know it's Mac's job to lose. You know what I mean? Going in. So, and I'm still fine with that. I if we don't get Jackson, I'm still fine, and I'm excited for the season. So,
Yep. All right.
He's going to get traded to Arizona for Kyler Murray. They're going to swap teams.
Really?
Whoa. Breaking news. I love it. I
Really?
love it.
I would
then
hate
Hopkins-
that for him.
then
Arizona's
Hopkins
just
gets traded to the Patriots.
so boring. And then he gets traded to the Patriots. Yes. All right. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that is sort of like that is the lead getting buried. I think we sort of forgot. I have to remind myself that O'Brien's back and they had chemistry and they won a title. And yes, the working parts around him in that offense were a lot stronger because Alabama's a professional football team playing college football. But yeah, it'll be interesting. All right. So he's getting traded for Kyler Murray. I love classic football uniforms, and if anybody really needs an update to their uniform, it's Arizona. It's such a yawn fest. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Sunday in Scottsdale, and you're like, let me go grab my shirt and put it on for the game. Like it's laborious. It's just terrible, terrible. I'll say it one more time. It's terrible. We appreciate you guys hanging out. We are at atbshow.com for Uncle Duke's and Rubber Shoes and for Adam, who will be back next week. My name is Timmy, atbshow.com. You can go there, find all of the things. We'd love for you to subscribe, like, share, and, of course, comment And you can track down Rubber Shoes on all of the things. Are you doing LinkedIn yet? We talked about this last week. Are you on LinkedIn? Can you see him doing?
I'm on LinkedIn, but how do you post?
I don't know. You're the social media maven. Figure it out. No time for that. I'm busy not getting us on Facebook once a week. I mean, come on now. We all have our gifts.
Get another profile. Get Rubber Shoes as a separate profile on there.
Yes. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. We love it. We'll see you in and around the internet. Thanks for hanging out. ATBshow.com. Thank you to our friends for dealing with us at AAA Work Trucks, of course, as well. I know it's Joe. What is her name?
Leslie.
Joe and Leslie at AAA Work Trucks. We apologize that you have to work with Rubber Shoes on a regular basis, and we appreciate your sponsorship.
We're so sorry.
Actually, sorry, not sorry.